Have you ever noticed yourself just existing rather than actually living? It's a typical sensation, almost as if we're on autopilot, influenced by echoes from our history and expectations established by others. If this speaks to you, you're not alone. Today, we'll begin on an adventure together. A voyage of self-discovery and realizing our own worth. It's not only about breaking free, it is about creating a life that truly reflects who we are and what we hope to become. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on understanding and developing our intrinsic value regardless of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius famously observed that our lives are shaped by our thoughts. This powerful theory proposes that detaching from past influences and cultural expectations is not only freeing but also necessary for growth. As we examine these ideas, we hope to not only get a deeper understanding of ourselves, but also to construct a path that reflects our innermost beliefs and desires. So if you've been feeling trapped or simply going through the motions, let's break free. It's time to paint a new vision of your life, one in which you are the sole creator of your destiny. Let's explore what it means to genuinely know yourself beyond the shadows of your upbringing or the roles you've been taught to play. Together, we'll discover the beauty of self-esteem and the freedom that comes with self-authorship. Welcome to a transformative journey to uncover the best version of you. First, determine your worth. Consider standing in front of a blank canvas with every hue imaginable at your disposal. This canvas depicts your life with the colors representing your decisions, experiences, and values. Now consider what influences your choices. Is it your background, others' expectations, or a true reflection of your own values? It's a topic worth considering because the first step toward real self-discovery is recognizing and accepting your intrinsic worth regardless of external factors. In Stoic philosophy, there is a powerful principle that revolves around focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. This perspective is critical when discussing self-worth. We frequently use our past, the judgments of others, or even cultural conventions to influence our self-esteem and life direction. Stoics like Epictetus emphasize that external circumstances do not have to disrupt our peace of mind or self-esteem unless we allow them to. Why not recover that power? Why not decide that your worth isn't determined by your background or the labels placed on you? To begin this process, recognize where your present feeling of value comes from. Do you feel worthwhile because you meet others' expectations, because you have a certain job title, or because you appear a specific way? While these factors are important in our lives, they do not represent the essence of true self-worth. According to the Stoics, your worth is determined by your reasoning abilities, virtues, acts, and ability to love and exhibit kindness. These are inherent and can only be given or taken away by you. Now consider the characteristics and achievements that make you proud of yourself. These do not have to be monumental. They could be as simple as your capacity to listen effectively, your desire to learn, or your courage to stand up for what you believe in. Write these down. Imagine them as brush strokes on the canvas of your life. Each one is a tribute to your worth, created by you rather than imposed by the outside world. Next, it's necessary to let go of the factors in your life that have prevented you from reaching your greatest potential. This could entail creating boundaries with family, choosing friends that encourage rather than disparage you, or rejecting social conventions that do not accord with your ideals. It's like clearing your palette. To view the bright, real colors clearly, you must first eliminate the confused hues. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, that you have control over your thinking, not external events. Realize this, and you will gain strength. Accepting your self-worth also entails forgiving oneself for previous faults. Consider them learning experiences that have helped you grow, rather than permanent blemishes on your character. This is not about forgetting your history, but about seeing it through the eyes of compassion and understanding. It acknowledges that, while the past has shaped you, it does not define you. Every day, reinforce your sense of self-worth. Practice affirmations that remind you of your innate worth. Engage in activities that will help you to demonstrate your values. Connect with others that recognize and value your authentic self. This persistent exercise will strengthen your self-esteem, making it less vulnerable to outside influences. 2. Face your anti-self. We all have that inner voice that whispers doubts and concerns, leading us to believe we are less capable, less worthy, or just not enough. It's like a shadow that follows us around, influencing how we perceive ourselves and our behaviors. This internal enemy, dubbed our anti-self, can be a significant impediment to self-discovery and personal development. Recognizing and confronting this aspect of ourselves is not just good. It's vital if we want to live a fulfilled and true life. Stoicism emphasizes self-examination and mastery over illogical impulses and thoughts. Stoics think that by knowing our internal problems, we may regulate them rather than letting them dictate our behaviors and emotions. Your anti-self capitalizes on your vulnerabilities and prior traumas, exploiting them to undermine your growth and self-esteem. It's critical to accept this aspect of your brain, not to empower it, but to disarm it. Begin by determining when your anti-self is most active. Does it emerge when you're ready to make a big decision or when you're confronting a challenge? Perhaps it manifests as procrastination, negativity, or self-sabotage. These are times when your anti-self takes control and steers you away from your full potential. Recognize the patterns. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. Once you've recognized these patterns, you might examine their validity. Challenge the story that your anti-self is promoting. Are these thoughts accurate, or are they warped reflections of your fears? Marcus Aurelius, a wise and stoic emperor, encouraged us to question our impressions, not take things at face value, but to scrutinize and test their veracity. Apply the Stoic examination to your thoughts. Most of the time, what you tell yourself when you're at your lowest isn't true, but rather worries disguised as reality. Addressing your anti-self also entails developing resilience and compassion for oneself. It's about learning to talk to oneself with the same care and encouragement you'd give to a good friend. When your anti-self speaks, react with affirmations of your value, accomplishments, and abilities. This does not imply that you should ignore your shortcomings or failures, but rather examine them through the prism of constructive criticism rather than self-condemnation. Visualization and introspection are another effective methods for weakening your anti-self. Imagine your life without the weight of your anti-self. What would you do differently? How would you feel? Stoics utilize visualization to practice various outcomes and reinforce desired behaviors. It can emphasize the positive qualities of your persona and remind you of who you can be without constantly doubting yourself. Make these reflections into actions. Set tiny, manageable goals that reflect your genuine self's aspirations. Every time you achieve a goal, despite your anti-self's opposition, you demonstrate to yourself that you are greater than your doubts and concerns. This not only weakens your anti-self, but also creates a more genuine, confident version of yourself. Remember that addressing your anti-self does not imply eliminating a part of your personality. It is about integrating your full being, accepting and managing the aspects of yourself that you wish didn't exist. It is a path of self-reconciliation that will result in a more unified and peaceful living. 3. Make the first step toward transformation. Change is not limited to large leaps. Small, consistent steps are frequently used to gradually provide the groundwork for change. It's about making a conscious decision to direct your life in a way that is more in line with who you are and who you want to become. Now, making this shift is not always easy, especially when it involves changing long-held behaviors or confronting deeply set beliefs. However, even modest acts of daring can inspire enormous transformations. The Stoics urge us to focus on what we can control, our ideas, decisions, and actions. These are your tools for change. Begin with what you can control directly. You can't always control the situations you find yourself in, but you can control how you react to them. This Stoic principle serves to keep our efforts grounded in reality, ensuring that our energies are not wasted on the unchangeable, but instead directed toward actionable, meaningful areas. First, clarify what change means to you. Is it a professional change, a healthier lifestyle, or the development of stronger relationships? Whatever it is, be explicit about what you hope to achieve. Define your shift not only in terms of final outcomes, but also in terms of the habits and everyday actions that will get you there. This step is about establishing a clear direction, a road plan that will guide your decisions and actions moving ahead. Next, make a plan. This does not need to be a strict minute-by-minute schedule. Instead, consider it as setting intentions that will lead you throughout the day. For example, if your aim is to become healthier, your plan may include setting particular meal times, selecting healthier food selections, and arranging frequent exercise. The Stoic technique of premeditation can help in this situation. Consider potential obstacles and devise strategies to handle them. This might be as simple as packing a nutritious lunch to avoid the temptation of fast food or scheduling a break from work to stretch. Now consider the habits that now shape your day. Which of these help you achieve your goals and which do not? It is critical to identify behaviors that may be impeding your growth and strive consciously to change them. This step of the process can be difficult because old behaviors are strongly ingrained. However, remember that the goal is growth, not perfection. Every minor adjustment you successfully implement is a win. It's also crucial to surround oneself with people who encourage you. Change can be challenging, and having a network of friends, family, or colleagues that understand and support your aspirations can be quite beneficial. Share your plans with them. Often, simply stating your intentions can help them feel more genuine and achievable. Consider finding out communities or groups that share your goals. For example, if you want to enhance your job, a professional network or mentor might provide vital advice and encouragement. Accept the Stoic practice of reflection. At the conclusion of each day, spend a few moments to reflect on what went well and what did not. What obstacles did you encounter? How did you address them? What could you do differently tomorrow? This contemplation is about learning and adapting rather than judging oneself. It's about acknowledging your strengths and being open about where you can grow. Fourth, improve your social life. Imagine sitting in a cafe with friends, each talk a thread in a larger tapestry of shared experiences and mutual understanding. This setup isn't just for fun. It is an essential component of what allows us to thrive as humans. Our social connections do more than just fill our time. They nourish our souls, test our intellect, and strengthen our spirits. In today's talk, we'll look at how improving your social life may have a significant impact on your personal development, and how Stoic ideals can help us cultivate meaningful relationships. Stoicism, at its core, promotes relationships founded on virtue and mutual respect, directing us toward interactions that strengthen our character and reflect our deepest ideals. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, once remarked about the significance of carefully selecting our partners, as they have the ability to determine our fate. He told us to surround ourselves with people who exemplify the values we like and inspire us to achieve our full potential. This insight is ageless and especially pertinent today, when our social circles may easily become echo chambers, reinforcing habits and attitudes that do not serve our best interests. To significantly improve your social life, begin by evaluating the quality of your current relationships. Ask yourself if these relationships help me grow. Do they motivate me to become a better person? Are these ties making me happier and more fulfilled? If not, it may be time to seek out new experiences that are more aligned with your unique beliefs and goals. This does not imply that you should abruptly take individuals out of your life, but rather gradually begin to spend more time with those who positively influence you. Next, actively participate in communities where you can meet like-minded people. Whether it's a book club, a fitness class, a local Stoic meetup, or an internet forum dedicated to a particular cause, There are locations where you can interact with others who share your interests and values. These conversations are not only enjoyable, but also provide chances for personal development. Engaging in meaningful activities with others might result in more in-depth conversations and connections than surface-level interactions. Remember that improving your social life entails not just increasing the quantity of encounters you have, but also improving their quality. Practice staying present during talks. Active listening. Demonstrate empathy and genuine interest in what others have to say. The Stoics promote the practice of sympathia, which holds that all humans are manifestations of the same universal spirit, and that we are mutually dependent. This viewpoint motivates us to treat others with kindness and empathy, developing a sense of community and connection. Furthermore, embrace the Stoic concept of philanthropia, which is an affection for humanity that extends beyond social formalities. Show kindness without expecting anything in return, lend a helping hand when it is required, and practice generosity. These acts not only help others, but also improve your own life. Creating a positive energy and goodwill loop has the potential to reshape your social landscape. Don't be hesitant to outside your comfort zone, start discussions, suggest new activities, and be open to meeting new people. Each new interaction has the potential to open up a new world of ideas, viewpoints, and friendships. Remember, the goal is to create a network of relationships that are both gratifying and motivating, that will push you to be better and help you grow. 5. Personal life audit. Taking a step back to analyze your life may seem like a daunting chore, but it is vital if you want to truly improve yourself. Consider it a life audit, an opportunity to sit down and reflect on what is and is not working in your life. This is not about examining every tiny mistake or setback, but about getting a clear and honest picture of where you are today versus where you want to be. Let's look at how this introspection might serve as a foundation for your personal development. Stoicism teaches us the importance of reflection and self-examination, guided by its timeless wisdom. Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius frequently journaled to reflect on their day, acts, and growth in virtue. This practice is not solely about accountability. It's a powerful method to gain a better understanding of oneself and match one's life with one's principles. So how do you start this personal audit? Begin by examining the many parts of your life: relationships, profession, health, personal development, and leisure, and asking yourself if they genuinely reflect your core values. Ask yourself if your relationships are enriching and supportive. Is my employment rewarding and in line with my own goals? Am I taking proper care of my physical and mental health? What am I doing to develop my mind and spirituality? How do I unwind and recharge? It is critical to approach these concerns openly and without judgment. Remember, this is not about criticizing yourself for not being perfect. It is about discovering chances for advancement. A Stoic approach to this audit would involve focusing on what you can manage. You may not be able to change every facet of your employment or instantly fix a relationship, but you can alter your approach to these situations. For example, if you discover that your work is unsatisfactory, evaluate what parts you can change. Could you take on new projects or tasks that better align with your interests? What can you do to improve a troubled relationship by communicating more openly and demonstrating greater empathy? Once you've identified areas for growth, make specific targets. These should be specific, quantifiable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART. This strategy breaks down huge goals into smaller, more attainable tasks that you can take right away. For example, if you want to enhance your health, a good aim would be to walk 10,000 steps per day, 5 days a week for the next month. Reflecting on your own life entails acknowledging and appreciating what is already going effectively. This is not only about resolving issues, it's about leveraging your strengths. A Stoic finds happiness not in expensive extravagances, but in modest virtues and the satisfaction of self-improvement. Celebrate the areas of your life that are thriving. Stoics think that gratitude is a form of knowledge. Appreciating the good not only improves your well-being, but also reinforces the positive features. Please remember to review this audit on a frequent basis. Life changes, as do your aspirations and requirements. Set aside time, perhaps once every 3 months, to sit down and examine your progress. This regular check-in keeps you on track with your values and ensures that your life direction changes as necessary. The Stoic practice of continual self-evaluations helps to solidify the habits and lifestyle changes you want to keep, with each review providing an opportunity to recalibrate and concentrate. Sixth, health and learning. When we talk about laying the groundwork for a fulfilling life, 2 key pillars constantly come up: health and continual learning. These are not simply aspects of a well-rounded life. They are crucial tools that allow us to realize our greatest potential. Let's look at why nurturing your body and mind is not only excellent practice, but also necessary for everyone who wants to live a life of purpose and vitality. The Stoics placed a strong focus on maintaining physical and mental health, viewing them as responsibilities not only to ourselves, but also to our community and society as a whole. They recognize that a sound mind in a sound body is better equipped to practice virtue and wisdom. Think about it. Isn't it true that feeling physically healthy makes you more productive and positive? And when you're learning and growing intellectually, don't you feel more invigorated and involved with your surroundings? These states feed into a virtuous loop, enhancing one another and improving your quality of life. Starting with physical health, the goal is more than merely avoiding disease. It is about developing the vitality and stamina to face life's obstacles. Regular physical activity, a well-balanced diet, and enough sleep. These are all well-known health pillars, but consider them daily acts of self-respect rather than duties. Musonius Rufus, a Stoic philosopher, maintained that frequent exercise is vital to retain the health and vigor required to carry out one's duties. So choose activities that you enjoy, such as yoga, running, or dance. Make them a part of your routine, not as a punishment or a health regimen, but as an expression of your body's abilities. In addition to maintaining your physical health, lifelong learning allows you to develop your cerebral faculties. The Stoics promoted study and self-improvement through philosophy, which they employed to improve their lives. In our modern world, this translates to constantly expanding your knowledge and skills, whether by formal schooling, reading, or participating in new experiences. Learning keeps your mind sharp and adaptive, which is essential in this ever-changing environment. Furthermore, continuous learning promotes humility, an important Stoic virtue. It reminds us that no matter how much we know, there is always more to learn. This mindset encourages curiosity and openness to new ideas, which is crucial for personal and professional development. Accept opportunities to learn new things, whether it's through a professional course, a new pastime, or simply reading about a topic that interests you. Each piece of knowledge deepens your character and broadens your worldview. However, the purpose of this quest of health and knowledge is more than just self-improvement. It is about preparing yourself to make a more meaningful contribution to the lives of others. Stoicism teaches us that we are all part of a broader community, and that our happiness and knowledge have far-reaching consequences. When you're healthy and well-informed, you're more equipped to lead, assist, and inspire people around you. So I encourage you to see your health and education not just as personal aspirations, but as essential components of your contribution to the world. Maintain your body as the wonderful, capable mechanism that it is. Feed your mind with the rich fuel of information and see how your life changes not just inside, but also in the way you affect others. 7. Establish meaningful connections. Building strong, meaningful friendships is similar to growing a garden. Knowing what to cultivate and what to prune involves patience, effort, and some wisdom. Relationships, whether friendships, love engagements, or professional associations, are crucial not just for our satisfaction, but also for our personal development. Today we'll look at how nurturing these connections may improve our lives, as well as how Stoic ideas can help us build and maintain relationships that are not just gratifying, but also virtue-based. Stoicism emphasizes the value of community and the belief that people are basically social beings. Marcus Aurelius, a philosopher, spoke extensively about humanity's interconnectedness and the significance of acting in harmony with others. This does not imply that all relationships must be ideal or that conflict should never arise. Instead, it implies that the connections worth pursuing are those that push us to improve and act with integrity. When we talk about making meaningful connections, we start by choosing people we spend our time with. Stoics such as Seneca suggest picking companions who embody the qualities we admire and strive to, as these connections build our character. Look about you. Consider who motivates, inspires, and encourages you to be your best self. These are the ties worth investing in. They are the ones who will not only encourage you during difficult times, but will also openly enjoy your accomplishments. Investing in these connections entails more than simply spending time together. It requires a profound level of engagement. It entails being present physically, emotionally, and intellectually. Actively listen to what people are saying, demonstrate empathy and understanding, offer help without waiting to be asked, and accept help when offered. These are the foundational elements of a strong connection. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us not to avoid emotions, but to understand and handle them constructively. In your relationships, this entails being honest about your feelings and addressing disputes as they happen, rather than allowing resentment to grow. It entails having the courage to be vulnerable, to disclose your feelings and anxieties, and to let others truly know you. This kind of openness has the potential to convert good relationships into exceptional ones, forming bonds built on trust and respect. It's also important to recognize the importance of thankfulness in partnerships. Reflect on what each person offers to your life and express your gratitude openly. Gratitude enhances the importance of your connections and serves as a reminder of why you choose to form these bonds. It transforms daily interactions into opportunities for affirmation, strengthening the bond of mutual respect and compassion. Remember that real connections aren't static. They evolve as you and those around you grow and change. This indicates that, despite your best efforts, a relationship may no longer be appropriate for the individuals involved. Here, the Stoic principle of accepting what you cannot change can be useful. If a relationship changes or ends, consider the benefits it brought into your life. Learn from the event and move forward gracefully. Finally, broaden the scope of your significant contacts outside your small social circle. Engage with your neighborhood, join in group activities that match your interests, and reach out to build new relationships. Each new person you meet might bring new ideas and experiences to your life, enriching it and helping you grow. 8. Work and spirituality. Imagine waking up every morning with a strong sense of purpose, feeling linked to both your work and the ideals you cherish. This is more than just an ideal. It is something we can achieve by aligning our work life and spiritual practices with our true selves. Work and spirituality, while seemingly distinct, are inextricably linked. They both shape our perceptions of ourselves and the world, as well as the legacy we leave behind. Let's look at how to find harmony in these two areas, as well as how Stoicism may help us with timeless wisdom. The Stoics saw work as more than a means to an end. Marcus Aurelius frequently focused on the concept of contributing to the greater good through one's activities. Work in this sense becomes a type of service, not just to others, but also to yourself, because it is a place where your abilities, effort, and discipline come together to create something worthwhile. Think about it. When your work reflects your ideals and passions, it is more than just a job. It satisfies a deeper desire for purpose and contribution. If you're feeling disengaged from your career, it may be time to reconsider. Ask yourself, does my employment match my values? Does it allow me to develop, contribute, and discover meaning? If the answer is no, think about the modifications you could make. Perhaps it's a shift in perspective, focusing on areas of your work that are in line with your ideals. Perhaps it's time to look into different options that better fit who you are. The Stoics encourage us to make such decisions with clarity and courage, focusing on what we can control while embracing life's uncertainties with grace. Spirituality plays an equally vital role in achieving balance and fulfillment. Spirituality, according to the Stoics, was about living in harmony with nature and acknowledging the interconnection of all things rather than religious ideology. They believed that fostering inner attributes such as intelligence, courage, justice, and self-control was the pinnacle of spiritual practice. These values inspired them to live lives of purpose and endurance, regardless of the external conditions. Spirituality in today's world can take numerous forms, ranging from meditation and mindfulness to doing acts of kindness or reflecting on one's unique ideals. What matters is to find habits that ground you and connect you to something bigger than yourself. This might be a morning meditation to set the tone for the day, journaling about your goals and problems, or simply expressing appreciation for the possibilities and relationships in your life. The Stoic practice of introspection is especially applicable here. At the conclusion of each day, reflect on your actions. Were they consistent with your values? Did they help you reach your personal and professional goals? This type of reflection not only strengthens your feeling of purpose, but it also allows you to start each day with a fresh focus and aim. Another method to reconcile work and spirituality is to explore how your activities benefit the larger good. Whether you're a teacher molding young minds, a builder constructing homes, or an artist inspiring via creativity, your effort has the ability to favorably affect others. Recognizing this greater significance can elevate even boring jobs to acts of service and connection. Do not underestimate the power of balance. Work and spirituality grow when given adequate attention. Overworking can lead to burnout, and ignoring your inner life can leave you feeling disoriented. Set limits to preserve your well-being and schedule time for spiritual practices. This balance is not static, it changes based on your needs and circumstances, but striving for it ensures that no part of your life is overlooked. 9. Build your team. Nobody accomplishes greatness alone. Think about it. Every significant success story you've heard has most certainly featured a team, whether it was a group of collaborators, mentors, friends, or even family members who provided support and direction along the journey. While we frequently celebrate individual accomplishments, the truth is that the path to success is firmly anchored in the relationships we form and the support networks we create. Today, we'll look at why it's so important to establish your team and how Stoic wisdom may help you put together a group that empowers and inspires you. The Stoics emphasize the value of community and the connection of all people. Marcus Aurelius regularly reminded himself and us that humans are social beings by nature, meant to cooperate and help one another. He wrote that whatever is bad for the hive is also bad for the bee, highlighting how our personal well-being is linked to the health of our relationships. Creating a strong team is more than just a strategic decision. It reflects the underlying human impulse to connect and collaborate. Understanding your aims and beliefs is the first stage in team building. Who are the people you need in your corner to help you achieve your goals? These could be mentors who share their experience, peers who challenge and motivate you, or close friends who offer emotional support and encouragement. Just as Seneca suggested picking companions who embody the values you respect, you should surround yourself with people who motivate you to be better and share your goal for success. However, building a strong team requires more than just finding the right people. It's also about how you foster those relationships. True teamwork is based on trust, mutual respect, and open communication. Make an attempt to fully understand the folks you're working with. What are their key strengths, motivations, and challenges? Understanding their perspectives allows you to create an environment in which everyone feels respected and empowered to offer their full potential. One of the fundamental principles of Stoicism is justice, which entails treating people fairly and with love. Apply this to how you engage with your staff. Acknowledge their efforts, celebrate their successes, provide helpful criticism as needed. When people feel valued and understood, they are more willing to go above and above. They do it not only for the team, but also for themselves. Building a team entails being choosy about who you let into your inner circle. Not everyone will share your beliefs or endorse your ideas. And that's fine. Do not be terrified. The Stoics teach us to accept what is beyond our control, which includes letting go of relationships that no longer serve us or correspond with our growth. This does not have to be overly dramatic. It simply requires being deliberate with your energy and attention. Another important feature of a great team is diversity. Not only do they differ in origins or experiences, but also in viewpoints and ideals. Surrounding yourself with people who hold opposing viewpoints might help you to question your preconceptions and extend your perspective. This diversity of view encourages creativity and invention, propelling you and your team to new heights. Remember that teamwork requires both sides to contribute. Just as you expect support and encouragement, you should provide it in return. Be a dependable teammate, an attentive listener, and a source of inspiration. Epictetus believed that we are not separate individuals, but rather pieces of a larger whole, and our actions should reflect this interconnectivity. If you found this video useful, check out one of the suggested videos on your screen to continue your path of growth and discovery. Your support is invaluable, and together we will continue to live and grow with purpose. See you next time. Have you ever felt trapped by feelings related to someone who is no longer in your life? Or worse, someone who didn't care as much as you did? It's like carrying a weight that just becomes heavier over time. What if I told you there is a way to let go? Not by becoming cold or apathetic, but by discovering clarity, tranquility, and strength within you. The Stoics felt that clinging to emotions was equivalent to clutching onto a burning flame. The harder your grip, the worse it hurts. Today, I'll give you 5 important Stoic precepts to help you emotionally detach. Not stop caring, but care wisely. Imagine living with the freedom to let go of emotional baggage, focusing just on what you can control, and gracefully accepting life's changes. That is the point of this video, and believe me when I say that Rule the 5th of May forever change the way you see relationships. If this resonates with you, stick with me until the finish. You'll learn not only practical methods for dealing with life's emotional storms, but also how to develop an unbreakable inner fortress of strength and resilience. Let us begin with Stoicism's first rule: embrace impermanence. It's a simple truth that we all understand yet often reject. Everything in life is temporary. People come and go, circumstances change, and even the most enduring relationships adapt. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoic philosophers, stated that loss is nothing more than change, and change is nature's delight. Think about it. How many times have you clung to something or someone only to realize that the tighter you grip, the faster it slides away? It's like trying to grasp sand on the beach. The more we oppose change, the more suffering we cause ourselves. I recall a friendship I'd had for almost a decade. We revealed everything: our dreams, our worries, and those late-night serious chats. However, as time passed, our priorities moved, and the emotional connection we had shared began to disappear. I initially fought it. I tried to revive our relationship by reaching out more and making an extra effort, but it seemed like clinging to something that no longer fit. I discovered calm only after accepting the relationship's impermanence. The friendship had served its function in that stage of my life, and it was time to let it go. This was not about giving up. It was about valuing what we had and acknowledging that all relationships are fleeting. This is an easy practice for you. Take a moment to focus on a changing relationship or situation in your life. Instead of opposing it, write 3 things you're grateful for about it, followed by this: I let go with calm understanding that it is part of life's natural flow. When we realize that nothing lasts forever, we are free to truly enjoy the moment. This brings us to the next Stoic rule: controlling your emotions via reasonable thought. Emotions can seem overwhelming, don't they? Sadness, anger, and frustration seem to appear out of nowhere and take over. But here's the deal. Stoicism tells us that emotions are not real. They're the result of our thinking, how we interpret the events around us. Imagine this: you convey a genuine message to someone you care about. Hours pass and there is no response. What is your initial thought? Many of us wonder if we said something incorrect. Are they furious with me? Then follow the feelings: anxiety, irritation, and even fury. But what's actually going on here? Marcus Aurelius tells us that you have influence over your thinking, not external events. Realize this and you will gain strength. The truth is, a lack of response means nothing until you give it significance. What if the person is simply busy or their phone died? By questioning your first reaction, you regain control of your emotions. I have been there myself. I once texted a good buddy during a difficult period, pouring out my emotions. When hours passed without a response, my mind spiraled. Did I insult anyone? Do they actually care? By the end of the day, I'd convinced myself that our friendship had ended. The following day, my friend contacted, entirely oblivious of my inner turmoil. They had just finished a busy day. It was a sobering experience that reminded me of Marcus Aurelius' wisdom. The soul is dyed with the hue of its ideas. Here's an activity to try if your emotions become overwhelming. Pause and ask yourself 3 questions. What are the facts? What story do I tell myself? What's a more balanced viewpoint? Write down your answers. You'll be astonished at how much clarity this provides. Mastering your emotions entails understanding them rather than denying them. Once you have this clarity, you may move on to the following rule: practice negative visualization. This could seem unusual at first. Why would anyone want to think about losing something or someone they love? Negative imagery, however, is one of Stoicism's most potent techniques. It is not about being pessimistic. It's about getting your mind ready for life's inevitable adjustments. Consider a loved one going away or a relationship changing. Avoid dwelling on loss by picturing your life without them. However, in order to enjoy their presence even more, Seneca deprives contemporary afflictions of their potency. Who knew they were coming? I recall when my best friend initially told me they were moving overseas. The notion of losing their daily presence was painful, yet instead of protesting, I accepted it. I pictured life without them, how I would adjust, and how I would still value our connection from a distance. When the relocation eventually occurred, it was not simple. But I was prepared, and I enjoyed every time we had together before they departed. This is your next practice. Every day, jot down 1 item you are grateful for. Then imagine life without it. This is not about instilling terror. It's about developing a deeper appreciation for the now. Negative visualization builds resilience and encourages you to appreciate what you have. Speaking of resilience, our second rule is to focus on what you can manage. Now that we've accepted impermanence, rationalized our emotions, and practiced negative imagery, it's time to apply the 4th Stoic rule. Focus on what you can control. This is one of Stoicism's most liberating and, in my opinion, transforming ideas. How much of your stress comes from attempting to control situations that are entirely beyond your control? Whether it's someone's perception of you, the end of a relationship, or just the weather, we frequently tire ourselves attempting to handle the unmanageable. The Stoics advise us to concentrate on what is genuinely under our control. Our ideas, behaviors, and reactions. The rest is beyond our control. As Epictetus said, do the best you can with what you have and take the rest as it comes. It's a basic but effective notion. I once had a relationship in which I was continually overcompensating. I scheduled meaningful dates, sent genuine notes, and attempted to anticipate their needs. But no matter what I did, it felt like I was constantly chasing something that was just out of grasp. I eventually understood I was focusing all of my attention on something I couldn't control. the other person's emotions. I could control how I responded. I resolved to concentrate on my own development and self-worth rather than continually seeking approval from others. That change was life-altering. Here's an easy practice to attempt. Draw a circle and divide it into 2 sections. On one side, write down everything you can control, your thoughts, deeds, and effort. On the other side, make a list of what you can't control. Other people's perspectives, results, or external occurrences. When you're feeling overloaded, glance at this circle and ask yourself, am I focused on the correct things? This technique allows you to redirect your energy toward what is truly important, your personal progress and peace of mind. The final rule is one of the most significant, focusing on the big picture. It's easy to lose perspective when we're overwhelmed by the emotions of a breakup, dispute, or loss. The Stoics advise us to step back and recognize life's obstacles for what they are, moments that are fleeting in the big scheme of time. Marcus Aurelius frequently mused on the impermanence of human issues, writing, "Time is like a river of passing events, and its current is strong. No sooner is anything brought to light than it is swept away, and another takes its place." This greater perspective allows us to separate from the current suffering and recognize that life goes on. I'll never forget how painful it was to lose someone I cared greatly about. At the time, I felt as if my world had stopped. But as I reflected, I understood something significant. This person, while essential, was only one chapter in my story. Their impact on my life was significant, but it did not define me. Reflecting on the wider picture, I realized that life had so much more to give. I was not trapped in that time of loss. As a result, I was able to carry the lessons and memories forward without feeling burdened down by the suffering. If you're feeling overwhelmed by a circumstance, ask yourself this: will this matter in 5 years? Consider how prior obstacles you believed were insurmountable gradually faded into the background. This viewpoint allows you to recognize that even your current difficulties are transient. Remember that life is more than just one person, relationship, or event. When you take a step back, you will discover the strength to continue pushing forward. So let's go over the 5 rules again. Accept impermanence. Control your emotions with rational thought. Practice negative visualization. Concentrate on what you can control. Consider the wider picture. Each of these concepts reinforces the others. Developing a framework for emotional freedom. Stoicism is not about isolating oneself from the outside world. It's about approaching life in a way that promotes clarity, tranquility, and resilience. It is about constructing an inner fortress, strong, unshakable, and prepared to confront anything. If this film touched you, I'd love to hear your opinions. Which of these rules are you excited to put into practice? Please share your story in the comments. I might even include it in a future video. And if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use some Stoic wisdom today. Remember that life will always present obstacles, but with Stoicism as your guide, you can confront them with power and grace. Stay strong and stoic. Now that we've covered the 5 Stoic norms, let's look at how you may use them in your daily life. Stoicism is more than simply high theory. It is also about practical practices that may help you live your life with clarity and purpose every day. Morning reflection is one of the most effective ways to start the day. Marcus Aurelius frequently began his day by reminding himself of the difficulties he may face, writing, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself that the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." At first impression, this seems bleak, doesn't it? But it's actually liberating. This exercise equips your mind to confront each day with acceptance and resilience. Instead of being surprised by challenges, you address them calmly and clearly. Here's a practice you can do. Every morning, write down 3 potential challenges you may face. It could be a challenging conversation, a hard chore, or simply feeling tired. Then describe how you plan to respond, not with frustration, but with knowledge. This one act can change your outlook for the rest of the day. Take a break in the middle of the day when life becomes stressful. The Stoics thought that taking a step back from the chaos allows you to view things for what they really are. Marcus Aurelius referred to this as the ability of retreating into yourself. When was the last time you allowed yourself to simply halt, breathe, let go of the noise, and reconnect with your inner self? This simple habit can help you stay in the present moment. Here's how to include this into your daily routine. Set a reminder on your phone to pause for only 2 minutes. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself, what is under my control right now? Seneca recommended that every night before going to bed, we should ask ourselves, what weakness did I overcome today? This small habit may dramatically reset your viewpoint. Stoics didn't simply prepare for the day, they also finished it with contemplation. Before going to bed, take 5 minutes to write down 2 things. What you did well today, such as staying calm during a stressful moment or being kind to someone, and where you can improve. Reflection is a practice of self-compassion and personal growth, not self-judgment. Let's talk about how to apply Stoicism to real-life challenges, such as navigating a strained relationship, managing stress at work, or dealing with the emotional weight of life's transitions. Then write one thing you could have done differently, not to dwell on it, but to learn from it. This daily habit will help you grow into the best version of yourself. When it comes to relationships, one of the most challenging things is to recognize what is under your control. You can't make someone esteem you, love you, or treat you the way you deserve, but you can choose how you respond. In a problematic relationship, ask yourself if you're attempting to control the other person. Instead of focusing on the chaos around you, focus on what you can control, your effort, attitude, and response. Remember Marcus Aurelius' advice, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Letting go of the need for control allows you to focus on your own peace and well-being. Workplace stress is another area where Stoicism shines. When you shift your focus to what's actionable, stress loses its grip on you. Whether it's losing a loved one, transitioning to a new phase of life, or saying goodbye to a relationship, Stoicism reminds us that change is unavoidable. Negative visualization prepares us for these moments, and reflection helps us find meaning in them. Stoicism is not about suppressing your emotions or shutting yourself off from the world. Rather, it is about living with intention, clarity, and resilience, finding strength in the face of life's challenges, and learning to let go of what no longer serves you. Ask yourself, what lesson can I take from this experience? By finding meaning, you can transform pain into growth. Now it's your turn. Which Stoic practice will you try today? Will it be morning reflection, letting go of control, or journaling your evening thoughts? Please share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how Stoicism is shaping your life. Don't forget to subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and practical insights. We'll build an inner fortress strong enough to weather any storm. Stay strong and stay Stoic. Let's take a moment to revisit one of Stoicism's simplest but most profound truths, the power of starting small. It's easy to believe that personal growth requires drastic, life-changing actions, but the greatest transformations often come from small, consistent practices that you can incorporate into your daily routine. Consider how many days you've wasted due to distractions or stress. What if you could reclaim those moments by setting a clear intention each day? Marcus Aurelius, one of the most disciplined Stoics, used his journal to reflect and prepare for each day, writing, "You could leave life right now." Every morning, take a few moments to write 1 or 2 intentions for your day, whether it's to stay calm during a stressful meeting or to choose gratitude when things don't go your way. Allow that to influence everything you do, say, and think. It may sound harsh, but it's actually a reminder to focus on what truly matters. It's not about being perfect, it's about making a conscious effort. Begin your day with this intention. Today, I will approach challenges with patience. When the kids are late or the coffee spills, take a deep breath and remember your goal. Life doesn't always go as planned, does it? The Stoics remind us that setbacks are unavoidable, but here's the key: they're not failures, they're lessons. According to Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What's standing in the way? This means that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can transform even the most difficult days. Whenever you face a setback, take a moment to write about it. Ask yourself 3 questions. What happened? The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from appreciating the simple things in life, not from material wealth or external success. This practice helps you turn obstacles into stepping stones for growth. According to Seneca, true happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future. When was the last time you truly savored a quiet moment? It's easy to get caught up in chasing the next big thing, but Stoicism teaches us to slow down and find contentment in what's already here. Here's a practice to bring more joy into your day. Take a 10-minute gratitude walk, looking around and noting 3 things you're grateful for. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others act, but we can control how we respond to them. This can be as simple as noticing the fresh air or the sound of laughter. Relationships can be a source of both joy and pain, and the Stoics remind us that we can approach conflicts with compassion and let go of the need to always be right. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." The next time you're in a conflict, pause and ask yourself, am I really listening? Or am I just waiting to respond? Choosing empathy over ego strengthens your connections. Before responding in a difficult conversation, pause and take a deep breath. Whether it's retiring, moving to a new city, or watching your children leave the nest, life's transitions can feel overwhelming, but Stoicism reminds us that change is not the enemy. Ask yourself, what's the other person really trying to say? This simple habit can transform how you approach conflicts. It's a natural part of life. As Marcus Aurelius said, observe constantly that all things take place by change. Instead of resisting change, embrace it as an opportunity for growth. Ask yourself, what new possibilities does this change bring? When facing a major transition, write a letter to your future self. Stoicism isn't about shutting down your emotions or ignoring life's challenges. It's about finding the strength to live intentionally with clarity and purpose. Write about the lessons you'll learn in this practice, which will shift your focus from fear to anticipation. As we near the end of this journey, let us take a moment to reflect on why these Stoic principles are so important. Each small practice, whether it's journaling, pausing to breathe, or appreciating the moment, strengthens your resilience and shapes your inner fortress. Remember that the power to live well is already within you. All you have to do is take the first step. Stoicism provides us with the tools to navigate life's ups and downs with strength, clarity, and grace. Let's take a look at the 5 rules again and see how they work together to create a comprehensive framework for emotional freedom. These aren't just abstract concepts, they're practices that you can apply in your daily life. Life is full of transitions. Children grow up, loved ones leave, and circumstances change. Rather than clinging to what was, the Stoics teach us to embrace impermanence. This does not mean ignoring the pain of loss, but rather accepting that change is part of life's natural flow. Remember that letting go does not imply ceasing to care. Every day, take a moment to reflect on something that has changed in your life. Instead of mourning what has passed, write down one thing you are grateful for about that experience. Gratitude transforms loss into appreciation. When you're feeling overwhelmed, pause and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself? As Marcus Aurelius once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and recognizing this will help you find strength. Are my thoughts fueling my emotions, or can I shift my perspective? By challenging your initial reaction, you create space for rational, empowered choices. Try this exercise. The next time you're upset, write down the facts of the situation, along with any assumptions or interpretations you've made. This simple act of separating fact from emotion can help you see things more clearly. Negative visualization isn't about dwelling on loss. It's about mentally preparing yourself for life's inevitable changes. According to Seneca, the spirit should be preparing itself for difficult times when it is secure. Each week, spend 5 minutes reflecting on something you deeply value. This practice helps you build resilience and appreciate what you have by imagining life without something or someone you cherish. It also deepens your gratitude for the present and strengthens your ability to adapt if that loss occurs. Epictetus advises us to make the most of what we can control and let go of what we can't. Imagine your life without it, and then write down 3 reasons why you're glad you have it now. When you let go of the need to control others' opinions, actions, or feelings, you free yourself to focus on your own growth. This doesn't mean you stop caring, it simply means you stop wasting energy on things beyond your control. Here's a simple exercise. Each morning, write down 1 thing you'll focus on that is under your control, and 1 thing you'll consciously let go of. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that our troubles are fleeting in the grand scheme of time, describing time as a river of passing events. When life becomes overwhelming, the Stoics encourage us to take a step back and consider the bigger picture. Reflecting on the bigger picture allows you to see challenges as part of a larger journey. Life isn't defined by one moment. It's a tapestry of experiences, each contributing to your growth. When you're feeling stuck, ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Write down your answer and see how your perspective shifts. These 5 Stoic rules work together to create an inner fortress of strength, clarity, and peace that no external event can shake. It's not about becoming emotionless or detached, but about living with intention and resilience, no matter what life throws at you. Which rule resonated with you the most? Is it embracing impermanence, focusing on what you can control, or perhaps practicing gratitude through negative visualization? Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear your story. If you found this video helpful, please like it, share it with someone who could use a little Stoic wisdom, and subscribe for weekly content to help you live with strength and clarity. By now, you've seen how the principles of Stoicism, embracing impermanence, mastering your emotions, visualizing challenges, focusing on what you can control, and reflecting on the big picture create a powerful framework for emotional resilience. But how do you make these practices a part of your daily life? That's what we'll look at next. Routines ground us and help us stay consistent, even when life gets chaotic. A daily Stoic routine doesn't have to be complicated, it just needs to align with your values and goals. Mornings are a blank slate, a chance to set the tone for the rest of your day. Writing a daily intention inspired by Marcus Aurelius journaling helps you focus on your intentions before distractions take over. It doesn't guarantee a perfect day, but it does provide you with a guiding principle to return to when things get tough. Here's a simple way to begin. Write down 2 things, what you can control today and the virtue you'll focus on, such as patience, gratitude, or courage, and let this guide your actions throughout the day. Midday is the ideal time to check in with yourself, which the Stoics called retreating into the self. It's a moment to step back, breathe, and refocus. Set a reminder on your phone for a midday Stoic pause, take 3 deep breaths, revisit your morning intention, and let go of anything beyond your control. As Epictetus once said, no man is free who is not master of himself. This midday pause is an opportunity to regain mastery over your mind. Ask yourself, am I still aligned with my intentions? What's within my control right now? Even a few moments of reflection can make a world of difference. Evenings are a time to reflect on your day, not with judgment, but with curiosity. The Stoics believed that reflection is the key to growth, and Seneca suggested asking yourself questions like, what weakness did I overcome today? What virtue did I practice? Reflection helps you notice your progress and identify areas for improvement. It's not about being perfect, but about being intentional. Spend just 5 minutes each evening answering these 2 questions. What did I do well today, and what can I do better tomorrow? Over time, you'll see how these small reflections add up to big changes. Of course, Stoicism isn't just about calm mornings or reflective evenings. It's about how you deal with life's challenges. Whether you're dealing with a difficult relationship, workplace stress, or a major life transition, these principles can help you. One of the most difficult lessons in relationships is letting go of control. Epictetus reminds us that it's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. Before jumping to conclusions or reacting out of frustration, pause and ask yourself, what's within my control in this moment? Often the answer is simply choosing to communicate with patience and compassion. In the workplace, stress and criticism are unavoidable, but Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our effort, attitude, and willingness to grow. The next time you're in a conflict, try this pause. Take a deep breath and truly listen before responding. This simple act can transform how you approach disagreements. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply this to your work, act with integrity, and let go of outcomes beyond your control. When you stop taking criticism personally and see it as an opportunity for growth, stress loses its grip on you. Every day, write down one piece of feedback or challenge you faced at work, then reflect on how you can use it to grow. This mindset shifts your focus from defensiveness to empowerment. Transitions can be tough, whether it's a new job, a move, or a shift in your family dynamics, but the Stoics remind us that change is the nature of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change. Instead of resisting it, embrace it and change it." By shifting your focus, you can transform uncertainty into possibility. Write a letter to your future self about this transition, imagining yourself looking back with pride on how you navigated it and what lessons you've learned. Stoicism is not about being perfect or suppressing your emotions. Rather, it is about learning to navigate life's challenges with grace, resilience, and inner peace. Each small practice you adopt, whether it's a morning intention, a midday pause, or an evening reflection, contributes to the development of your inner fortress. So, which practice will you begin today? Let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear how Stoicism is helping you build strength and clarity in your life. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more practical insights. Together, we'll continue to build an unshakable inner fortress. Stay strong and stoic. Every time doubt creeps in, remind yourself that you're becoming stronger and more resilient every day, and let's stay connected on this journey because the layers only get deeper from here. This mask of indifference won't last forever, and the truth will eventually seep through in ways they can't ignore. There's a lot more to discover, and we're just getting started. Now we enter a heavier stage, the weight of regret. At first, they try to brush it off, hide their feelings, but now your silence is hitting them like a wave they can't escape. They begin to see the emptiness, the void you left behind, and regret creeps in like a shadow they can't shake. It's no longer about pretending they don't care. It's about realizing that maybe, just maybe, they've made a mistake they can't undo. Imagine them replaying every memory, every opportunity to appreciate you, and every time they brushed you aside. It's like standing on a cliff, looking back at everything they took for granted. As the philosopher Seneca once said, "Every new beginning comes from a beginning's end." They are now haunted by their choices, and they realize with a sinking feeling that each careless action, each time they disrespected you, is costing them more than they expected. They are experiencing the end of their relationship with you. They won't say it out loud, and they'll never admit it to anyone, but they're feeling the sting of losing something real. Regret doesn't announce itself. It creeps in quietly, slowly, like a shadow following them everywhere they go, and the longer you stay silent, the stronger it grows. This isn't about missing you, it's about realizing that they had something valuable, something irreplaceable, and they let it slip through their fingers. Most people, when they reach this stage, try to push the regret away. They'll keep up their front and act indifferent, but inside they're feeling the weight of their actions. They're thinking about every chance they had to treat you better, to keep you close, to value you, and each memory hurts. This is their journey, not yours, and they are dealing with their pride, guilt, and the realization that they have lost control, and that their loss is more painful than they could have imagined. You may feel sympathy for them and want to reach out to them, let them know you understand and ease their pain. Regret has its place, and sometimes people need to sit with it to fully understand the value of what they've lost. Stepping in now, even with good intentions, would only take away the weight of what they're going through. So take a deep breath and hold on to this affirmation. I am worth more than their regret, and I choose myself over anyone's temporary feelings. Say it out loud and let it sink in. You are not here to save them from the consequences of their actions. Their regret is theirs to bear, and your strength is yours to build. Stay with me on this path, because we're only halfway there. Regret is powerful, but it's only the beginning of what they'll feel. Their journey doesn't end here, and as the regret deepens, they're forced to confront even more truths they can no longer avoid. Hold tight, because there's still so much more to come, and the journey is far from over. And if you're still here, if you felt these words resonate with your own experience, please take a moment to let me know where you're at on this journey. Have you taken that leap into silence, or are you still holding on, wrestling with doubts? Drop a "keep it up" in the comments if you're staying strong, because this journey is as much about building yourself as it is about them realizing what they've lost. Stay tuned, because we're not done yet. The next phase is about facing the masks, the substitutes, and what happens when they try to fill the void you left behind. So let's keep going. Okay, let's keep moving deeper into this journey. So now they're feeling that weight of regret, but instead of facing it, instead of really sitting with that discomfort, they may try a shortcut. And what do? They start looking for someone new, hoping to fill the gap you left, to replace that presence with a quick fix. This stage can be difficult for you to witness, especially if they're flaunting it, as if you were just another chapter in their life. But don't be fooled. This isn't about moving on, it's about escaping. Imagine putting a bandage over a deep wound. They're not healing, they're covering it up, hoping that a new connection will numb the ache. They're looking for a distraction, anything to make them forget. But that's all it is, a distraction. The presence of someone else can't replace the presence they lost with you, and they know it deep down. They're using this person as a mask to avoid facing their own feelings, hoping that if they stay busy and move on, the emptiness you left won't catch up with them. This attempt to replace you is more of a coping mechanism than a real connection. They're trying to convince themselves, and perhaps even you, that they're fine, that they're happy, that they've moved on. But true connection isn't something you can swap out like an accessory. It's not about finding someone new to fill a void. When we lose something meaningful, our first instinct is often to find a substitute, something that fills the space without requiring us to change or grow. However, it's like trying to fit a puzzle piece that doesn't belong. It may look fine from a distance, but up close they can feel the emptiness it's covering up. This isn't about you, it's about their inability to sit with their own discomfort. They may go out more, post on social media, and show off their new connections as if they're living their best life, but keep in mind that they're hiding behind this show, hoping to convince themselves that they've moved on from you. But it's just a show, and the deeper truth is that you can't replace something real with something temporary. They're putting up a front to shield themselves from the sting of regret, but inside they're struggling with the emptiness that new faces and temporary distractions can't cure. Seeing this, you might start to doubt your own worth. You may wonder if you meant anything at all, if it's so easy for them to replace you. But keep in mind that this isn't a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their fear. They're afraid of confronting the void you left behind. They're afraid of the silence. So instead of confronting it, they run to someone new, hoping that person can fill the space that only you once did. If you need an affirmation, keep this one close. I am irreplaceable. My value cannot be duplicated or substituted. Say it with conviction every time doubt creeps in. This journey is about uncovering the truth, and their actions right now reveal that they aren't ready to face it. Some people would rather cover their pain with a temporary fix than confront the true loss. They'll hide behind someone new, hoping the emptiness will fade, but it never does. If they don't come to this realization on their own, you'll know deep down that they were never capable of fully valuing you in the first place. So you hold on to that affirmation, reminding yourself that their actions don't define your value. If they're running to someone new, let that be their journey, their coping mechanism, their distraction, because the truth of a real connection is that it can't be swapped out, and every time they try, every time they look to someone else to fill the gap, they're reminded of what they lost. It's like trying to cover a wound without allowing it to heal, and no matter how hard they try to ignore it, the ache of that emptiness will follow them. As philosopher Elaine de Botton once said, people only become truly interesting when they start to rattle the bars of their cages. Instead of breaking free from the cage of their own denial, they're staying inside it, hoping that a new face will distract them from the truth. They're avoiding the discomfort, refusing to recognize the value of what they've lost. And that's their journey to take, not yours. Now we're entering a new phase, the unraveling. This is when things start to break down for them and reality begins to set in. They thought they could keep going as if nothing had changed, but without the stability you provided, without the constant reassurance of your presence, their world begins to crack. You weren't just someone who showed up. You were their anchor, their constant, the foundation they unknowingly relied on. Now that foundation is gone and the cracks are beginning to show. It's as if they're trying to hold water in their hands, but no matter how tightly they squeeze, it slips away. At this point, they may feel like they're holding things together, but beneath the surface there's no water. It's all coming undone, and the distractions they're using to fill the void are starting to feel empty and meaningless. They're realizing that the world they created without you isn't as solid as they once believed. In the quiet moments, they begin to feel that emptiness even more. Their friendships may become hollow, or their daily routines may lose their meaning. There is a sense of restlessness and a lack of focus because they no longer have that sense of stability you brought into their lives. You grounded them even if they never realized it. And now they're lost, floating, trying to find their footing without that anchor, and they're starting to feel the full weight of their choices. When they're forced to confront the mess they made, their world is beginning to crumble piece by piece, and there's no distraction strong enough to keep the emptiness at bay. At this point, it's easy to sympathize with them and feel compelled to step back in and help, to be that support once more. It's as if something is missing, and that something is you. But remember, this is their journey, and they need to experience this unraveling, this realization without you swooping in to save them. This is the only way they'll understand the full weight of what they've lost, and stepping in now would only take away the clarity they're beginning to gain. Hold on to this affirmation. I am the stability they lost, but my strength is my own. Remind yourself of this whenever you feel the urge to help them, to ease their pain. They must face this journey alone to experience the reality of their actions without the safety net you once provided. This is your time to grow, to stand tall, to become stronger than ever. We're getting closer to the heart of this journey, and the truth is about to reveal itself even more. There's still more to come as they continue to feel the weight of your absence, as their world continues to crumble, so hold on, because this isn't over yet. The true understanding, the full impact of what they lost awaits them. As they struggle in the silence, the final truths will begin to emerge, and their true feelings will come to the surface in ways they can't hide. Let's keep going, because this is where the silence becomes a force they can no longer ignore. They've tried to hide it, to run away from it, to distract themselves, but now their defenses are fading, and they're left in silence, which feels like a void, a hollow space that they can't fill. Consider this. They're alone with nothing but the echo of your absence, and it's becoming deafening. There's no escaping the ache, the awareness that they had something valuable, something irreplaceable, and they let it slip away. The connections they tried to make, The people they used as substitutes, the shows they put on to appear fine, none of it can touch the emptiness they feel right now. It's not the loud, dramatic kind of pain. They're struggling in a space where your presence once was. It's a quiet, relentless ache that only deepens with time, a constant reminder of what they've lost. At first they thought they could just push past it, that it would fade, but each day without you brings them closer to a reality they can't ignore. Imagine them lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling with no messages on their phone, no comforting reminder of your care, and a sense of emptiness everywhere they look. It's in these quiet moments, these still pauses, that they feel it the most. When they're alone, without any distractions, the ache of your absence grows stronger. They may try to hide it and keep busy, but the silence follows them around, a constant reminder of what they let slip through their fingers. This is where you may feel tempted to reach out, to ask if they're okay, to ease their pain just a little. But remember, this silence is their journey, not yours. They need to fully feel this void to understand the weight of their choices without you stepping in. Saving them from this silence would only take away the lesson that they need to learn. If they truly cared and valued you, this silence would resonate with them. It's going to dig deep, stirring up feelings they tried to bury, feelings they can no longer ignore. If there was love there, real love, this void will push them to face it. They'll start to realize they've lost something they can't find in anyone else. But if they don't care, if they can make it through this silence unaffected, that clarity, that understanding is a gift to you. It demonstrates that they were never as invested as you were, and that freedom will allow you to move forward with full confidence. Hold on to this affirmation: my silence speaks of my strength and worth. Say it every time you feel tempted to reach out and fill that void for them. Your silence is not a weakness. After all of the masks, distractions, and attempts to fill the void, they've reached a point where they can no longer ignore the truth. It's a powerful decision to respect yourself enough to take a step back and allow them to confront the reality of what they've created. They have a choice: confront what they've lost, accept responsibility, and grow, or remain in denial, allowing regret to weigh them down indefinitely. For some, this is where the pain becomes overwhelming. They spiral, weighed down by guilt, by the loss of something they now realize was irreplaceable. They begin to see that the regret, emptiness, and ache isn't going away. It's a permanent feeling, a constant reminder of what they let go, and every attempt to move past it only brings them back to the same realization. They lost something real, something they'll never find again. Others, on the other hand, may take a different path and see your absence as a wake-up call, a moment of clarity. Marcus Aurelius' words ring true: when they realize they have a chance to confront what they have lost, to understand where they went wrong, and to become a better version of themselves. It's like coming to a fork in the road. They can either let the regret consume them or use it as a moment of growth. Your silence was their wake-up call, forcing them to choose between evolving or remaining stagnant. If they succeed, it's because they've allowed themselves to learn from their mistakes. If they fail, it's because they're unwilling to confront the truth of their own actions. And here's the beauty of this final stage: whatever path they choose, you're no longer bound by it. You've done your part by stepping back and allowing them to face their own reality. Their journey, their growth, or lack thereof, is no longer your responsibility. You've given them the space to confront themselves, grow, or remain the same. But you've grown. You've reclaimed your strength, your worth, your independence. So for this final affirmation, take a deep breath and say, I am free now. You're entering a new chapter, one in which your value isn't dependent on someone else's recognition, and your strength isn't defined by anyone's acceptance. You've emerged from this journey with clarity, confidence, and a new understanding of your own worth. Whether they realize it or not, you've gained something far more valuable: self-esteem, strength, and independence. As you move forward, you're free to create a life that reflects your true worth. When we are hindered, disturbed, or grieved, we should never blame it on others, but rather on ourselves, that is, on our own perceptions of things. Thus, death is not a terrible thing, otherwise Socrates would have thought it was. It is the activity of an uninstructed person to reproach others for his own misfortunes, of one who enters into instruction to reproach himself, and of one who is properly informed not to reproach anyone or himself. They waste the day in anticipation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. He is a wise man who rejoices over what he has rather than laments what he lacks. If there are gods, but they are unjust, you should not worship them. If there are gods, but they are just, they will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are no gods, you will have lived a noble life that will be remembered by your loved ones. To truly escape harassing situations, you need to be a different person, not just a different location. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, and does not wish for what he does not have. True happiness is to enjoy the present moment without worrying about the future, and to be content with what we have, which is enough. For what prevents us from saying that the happy life is to have a mind that is free, lofty, fearless and steadfast, a mind that is placed beyond the reach of fear and desire, that counts virtue as the only good, baseness as the only evil, and all else as a worthless mass of things that come and go without increasing or diminishing the highest good, and neither subtracting nor adding to the happy life. A man thus anchored, whether he wishes it or not, must be accompanied by perpetual cheerfulness and a deep joy that comes from within, because he delights in his own resources and craves no joys bigger than his inner joys. When someone wrongs you, ask yourself why he did it. If you understand his concept of good and evil, you'll feel sorry for him and stop being surprised or angry. If his concept is similar to yours, you'll have to forgive him because you'd have done the same thing in similar situations. However, if you do not share his views on good and evil, you should be able to accept the wrongdoings of someone who is confused and morally unsure. Wealth is defined as having few wants rather than many goods. Don't only describe your ideology, embody it. First, tell yourself who you want to be, and then do what you need to do. If you allow yourself to be troubled by someone who has the ability to irritate you, that person becomes your master. Circumstances do not form a man, they only reveal him to himself. Don't try to control events. Instead, learn to accept things as they come, and everything will be okay. God has entrusted me with myself, and no man is free unless he is master of himself. A man should live in such a way that his pleasure depends as little as possible on external factors. Do you not know that a good man does nothing for the sake of appearance, but rather to have done the right thing? If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to others' opinions, you will never be wealthy. All brutality stems from weakness. Nothing, in my opinion, better demonstrates a well-organized mind than a man's capacity to stop right where he is and spend some time in his own company. A gift is defined by the giver's or doer's intention rather than the act itself. You behave as mortals in all that you fear, and as immortals in all that you desire. If a man does not know to which port he is sailing, no breeze is favorable. You live as if you were destined to live forever, with no regard for your frailty. You squander time as if you drew from an endless supply, oblivious to the fact that the day you bestow upon someone or something could be your last. The color of one's thoughts becomes dyed into the spirit. How much time does he save by not looking at what his neighbor says, does, or thinks, but rather at what he does himself to make things good and holy? Begin each day by telling yourself that you will be met with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of which are caused by the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. For my part, I have long recognized the nature of good and its nobility, the nature of evil and its meanness, as well as the nature of the culprit himself, who is my brother. Not in the physical sense, but as a fellow creature similarly endowed with reason and a share of the divine, none of those things can injure me. Nobody can implicate me in what is degrading, nor can I be angry with or fall foul of my brother, because he and I were born to work together, like a man's two hands, feet, eyelids, or upper and lower rows of teeth. To obstruct one another is against nature's law, because annoyance and dislike are both forms of obstruction. If someone informs you that a certain individual speaks negatively of you, do not make excuses, but instead respond, "He was unaware of my other flaws. Otherwise, he would not have highlighted them alone." Living in resentment and disdain for the world around us appears to do more harm than good. The world we live in, its past and present, its people, and the rise and fall of its cultures and practices are all the way they are, and they are not the way we personally want them to be. When we resist the reality of the world around us and instead project our expectations onto it, we are often met with a certain level of internal resentment. The Stoic principle of amor fati teaches us to love fate and all that it brings, and to accept that the world is what it is, not what we want it to be. The greater the gap between reality and our expectations, the greater the resistance, which can lead to suffering. After all, fate has given us the ability to live and experience life. Unfortunately, amor fati is frequently confused with a passive, defeatist acceptance of the world around us, to lie down and observe the passing of things we don't agree with or the wrongdoing we see being committed. But I believe this is a misunderstanding of the Stoic principle. Acceptance of reality does not imply submission to it, but rather the ability to see it objectively and accept that it is the state of the world at the moment. It is the ability to see things around us clearly, not through the lens of our own biases and expectations. By doing so, we gain a better understanding of the reality of the situations we find ourselves in, free from the lens of our own biases and expectations. This allows us to see what is within our control and what is not, and then use that control to effect positive change in ourselves and, if possible, the world around us. It is all too easy for us to pass judgment from our own perspective, but it is a very different thing to try and put yourself in the shoes of the wrongdoer and try to understand what hardships they have gone through, what burdens they may be carrying, or how life has treated them leading up to the moment which you found so offensive. Most individuals are attempting to do the best they can with what they have, and while we are all accountable for our actions, there is frequently a line to draw between a person's experience and their behavior. To me, one of the great ironies of life is a man's desire to find comfort, to remove all sources of hardship and suffering in favor of comfort when applied to our core needs such as food, shelter, security, and companionship. Comfort and stability make sense to me, but when it extends to every corner of our lives, comfort and the removal of all hardship appears to bring its own brand of hardship. Excessive comfort appears to risk the opposite of putting ourselves into the unknown, expanding our comfort zone, and learning to deal with the adversity that comes with it. It erodes our resilience to hardship and can breed purposelessness, apathy, sloth, and the host of limitations that come with a shrinking comfort circle. The ancient Stoics advocated voluntary hardship, and Marcus Aurelius chose to sleep on an uncomfortable bed. It appears to me that one of the lesser considered challenges of modern life is to strike a balance between the comfort that comes from meeting our basic needs and the voluntary hardship that is required to keep that comfort from softening our resolve. Seneca opted to swim in rivers in the dead of winter. Both men were well aware of the dangers of being overly comfortable and the benefits of adding discomfort to one's life. We often distance ourselves from death on a daily basis, believing that it is something that happens to others or to us in the distant future. However, death is an ever-present fact of life, and living with this as a reminder leads to a deep appreciation for many of the things we take for granted. The Stoics practiced memento mori, or the practice of remembering death, by recognizing that whatever we are experiencing, whether it be the sound of leaves in the breeze, the companionship of those we love, or just the taste of fine food, could be one of the last times we have the opportunity to do so. The nature of life is change from the very first shifts in the universe, when the most simple of elements gathered together to form clouds, and then solid bodies which began to form the very first ingredients for life. Those ingredients formed life, the circle of birth and death, until they eventually came together in the exact configuration needed to create you and me. Our lives, like the beginning, peak, and crashing end of a wave, are simply part of a larger cycle. We are formed, we experience, and we die, and with our death comes the opportunity to reconfigure our atoms, to allow others to come and go, and to enjoy the experience of life indefinitely. The nature of the universe is change from the very large to the very small. Small changes in one's habits, such as waking up a little earlier, getting out of the house a little more frequently, going for a run, reading that book that has been gathering dust, or trying to be more present in the company of the things and people we love, can often improve one's life more than achieving lofty goals or collecting expensive things. While significant accomplishments certainly contribute to it, habits formed over time, rather than brief bursts of joy, are frequently the paving stones to a better existence. It's important to strike a delicate balance between looking to the future and the past. The future is necessary for long-term planning and preparation for events that appear likely to occur, but if you look too far ahead, it's easy to let life pass you by and miss what you've spent so much time planning and preparing for. Similarly, the past can be used as a tool to learn, but looking back may mean that you missed the life into which you've taken all the lessons of the past. The future can be used to plan and prepare, but life only happens in the now. For the time being, I am still alive. It is in the very nature of a living thing to die, no matter how hard we try to avoid it. If I die tomorrow, I will die tomorrow. If I die a year from now or 20 years from now, I will meet death then. So I'll do what I can with the time I have. If the dead cannot be brought back to life, no matter how hard we beat our breasts, if fate can be overcome by tears, let us bring tears to bear on it. Let us spend every day in mourning, every night in sorrow instead of sleep, and let your breasts be torn by your own hands. Let us then steer our own course, and no longer allow ourselves to be driven to leeward by the force of our misfortune. He is a sorry pilot who lets the waves wring his rudder from his grasp, who allows the sails to fly loose and abandons the ship to the storm. But he who bravely grasps the helm and clings to it until the sea closes over him deserves praise. Nothing, in my opinion, better demonstrates a well-organized mind than a man's capacity to stop right where he is and spend some time in his own company. The ability to choose one idea over another is our most powerful stress reduction tool. I only speak when I am positive that what I am about to say is not better left unsaid. All Hellenistic schools appear to define wisdom in roughly the same terms, first and foremost as a state of perfect peace of mind. From this viewpoint, philosophy appears to be a remedy for human worries, anguish, and misery caused by social constraints and conventions for the Cynics, the Epicureans by the quest for false pleasures, and the Stoics by the pursuit of pleasure and egotistic self-interest. Whether or not they claim the Socratic heritage, all Hellenistic philosophers agreed with Socrates that human beings are plunged into misery, anguish, and evil because they exist in ignorance. Evil is found not within things, but in the value judgments that people bring to bear on them. People can only be treated of their diseases if they are persuaded to modify their value judgments. Hence, all of these ideologies aim to be therapeutic. Your greatest values are simplicity, patience, and compassion. By being simple in your acts and ideas, you return to the root of being. By being patient with both friends and adversaries, you accept reality. And by being compassionate with yourself, you reconcile all beings in the world. Taoism is the art of being in the world because it deals with the present, with ourselves. God meets nature in us, and yesterday separates from tomorrow. The present is the moving infinity, the legitimate sphere of the relative, and it seeks adjustment, which is art. The art of life is a constant readjustment to our surroundings. Be content with what you have and rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the entire world belongs to you. By allowing your senses and mind to do what they want to do naturally, you are denying them their rights. When you are unable to think, perceive, feel, or act freely, your body and mind suffer. By breaking these oppressions, you can grow life. Always be on the lookout for ways to turn a problem into an opportunity for success. Watering your dreams with worry and fear will produce weeds that choke the life out of them, whereas watering them with optimism and solutions will cultivate success. A strong person understands when to use strength and when to submit, and the ability to know when and how to yield can mean the difference between good fortune and tragedy. Strength should always be combined with tenderness, because too much resistance can shatter you. Those who do not know how to endure are the worst off. There are times when the only thing we can do is bear our difficulties till a better day arrives. To tackle an issue, you must address the root cause rather than the symptoms. Knowing others is intelligence. Understanding yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength, and mastering oneself is true power. If a branch is overly rigid, it will break. Resist and you will perish. Learn to yield and you will survive. Only those who have no use for the empire should be trusted with it. You have the solution within you. You know who you are and what you desire. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Resisting them only leads to sadness. Instead, let reality be reality and allow things to flow freely in whatever direction they want. Kindness in speech inspires confidence, kindness in thought inspires profundity, and kindness in giving inspires love. A person with a mind is bound to be loaded with concepts which prohibit him from knowing things directly, hence he will never truly know. Explaining Zen is like catching wind in a box. Closing the lid causes the breeze to become stagnant air over time. A good traveler has no set plans and does not intend to arrive. Everyone will respect you when you are content to be yourself without comparing or competing. The fact is that persons who do not see themselves but see others, who do not grasp themselves but grab others, take possession of what others have but do not possess themselves. They are drawn to what others enjoy but cannot find happiness in themselves. If you play a game where scrap pieces of glass are at stake, you'll play skillfully. If your expensive belt buckle is at stake, you'll start to get clumsy, and if your money is at stake, you'll fumble. It's not that you've lost your skill, it's that you're too stressed out by what's going on outside. You have lost your inner peace, your quiet, and you will fail in whatever you try. A guy without a courage is willing to die, whereas a man with inner courage chooses to live. A man like this will not go where he has no will to go, and will not do what he has no mind to do. Even if the world praises him and says he has really found something, he will look unconcerned and never turn his head. Even if the world condemns him and says he has lost something, he will look calm and pay no attention. He is unaffected by the world's praise or censure. When forced by tragedy and danger, things that were formerly linked by profit will be separated. Let your thoughts roam in simplicity, blend your spirit with the vastness, accept things as they are, and leave no room for personal opinions. Then the world will be governed. Thoroughbreds like Kiji or Huali could gallop 1,000 li in a day, but when it came to catching rats, they were no match for the wildcat or the weasel. A beam or pillar can be used to batter down a city wall, but it is useless for plugging a small hole. The horned owl catches fleas at night and can spot the tip of a hair, but when daylight comes, it cannot see a mound or a hill, indicating a difference in nature. Do you intend to make right your master and do away with wrong, or order your master and do away with disorder? If you do, you don't understand the concept of heaven and earth, or the nature of the 10,000 things. It's like saying you're going to make heaven your master and do away with earth, or make yin your master and do away with yang, which is clearly impossible. We may be floating on Tao, but there's nothing wrong with steering. If Tao is like a river, knowing where the rocks are is definitely beneficial. great power is concern, and ultimate power is weariness, to the point where even God renounces it and pretends to be humans, fish, insects, and plants, the tale of the king who wanders among his subjects in disguise. Travel is a wonderful experience, especially when you forget you're traveling. Those who look into themselves while traveling will not think about what they see, and there is no distinction between the viewer and the scene. You experience everything with the totality of yourself, so that every blade of grass, every mountain, every lake is alive and a part of you. This is the ultimate trip experience. To gain knowledge, add things every day. To gain wisdom, subtract things every day. The blank canvas stares back at you, the cursor blinks on an empty screen, and the guitar sits untouched in the corner of the room. You want to create something extraordinary, something that will inspire or move others, but doubt whispers in your ear. What if it's not good enough? What if I can't even start? These moments of creative struggle are all too familiar, even to the most talented and experienced creators. Imagine a painter overwhelmed by the sheer possibilities of the first stroke, a writer paralyzed by fear of criticism, or a musician weighed down by the pressure to outperform their previous work. Creativity, while beautiful, can often feel like a battle, with the greatest challenge lying not in the work itself, but within the mind. But what if you could approach creativity differently? What if, instead of fighting doubt and frustration, you could harness the power of ancient wisdom to find clarity, focus, and freedom in the creative process? This is where Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in virtue, reason, and resilience, can transform how you think about creating. Whether you're a writer, artist, entrepreneur, or simply someone seeking to think more innovatively, these timeless principles will guide you through the obstacles of self-doubt, perfectionism, and fear. Here are 10 Stoic secrets that can help unleash your creative genius. Let us begin with the foundation of creativity, understanding the challenges and how Stoicism can help us overcome them. 1. The creative struggle. Understanding the challenges. Creativity is often romanticized as a mystical process, an effortless flow of inspiration and ideas, but anyone who has ever tried to create knows that the reality is far more complicated. The blank page can be intimidating. Doubts creep in, whispering that your work won't measure up. Frustration builds when progress is slow, or when the end result doesn't match your vision. And there's the constant fear of failure, of putting yourself out there only to face criticism or rejection. Whether you're a painter struggling to bring a concept to life, a writer grappling with an elusive plot, or an entrepreneur stuck in a loop of indecision, the battle is often not with the work itself, but with the mind. These challenges can feel like insurmountable walls. David Hume, a philosopher of a different era, famously said, "A wise man proportions his belief to the evidence." However, in moments of creative struggle, the evidence often skews towards self-doubt. What if I'm not good enough? What if no one cares? This mental chatter clouds judgment and stifles the flow of ideas. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, which you have the power to revoke at any time." In other words, creative blocks are frequently self-imposed. Recognizing that self-doubt, frustration, and fear are all normal aspects of the creative process is the first step toward overcoming them. Fear of failure, frustration with slow progress, and the desire for perfection are all mental constructs rather than realities. Creativity thrives not in the absence of these feelings, but in learning to navigate them. One of the most common challenges is the fear of beginning. The blank canvas or screen can feel like a mirror reflecting all your insecurities. To combat this, adopt the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control. You can't guarantee that your work will be a masterpiece, but you can control the act of beginning. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do every act of your life as if it were the last act of your life." Begin small, take one step, and let the momentum build. As Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." So don't be discouraged if your ideas don't always come out perfectly on the page, stage, or screen. Epictetus once said, "He who is not thrown by setbacks will endure, but he who fears them is already defeated." Fear of failure is often the voice that says, "Don't bother, it's not worth the risk." However, the Stoics teach that failure is a necessary step on the path to mastery. Embrace the possibility of failure as a learning experience. Every misstep teaches you something valuable and brings you closer to success. Finally, remember that creative struggles aren't unique to you. Every artist, writer, and creator has faced doubt, frustration, and fear. What distinguishes those who succeed from those who give up is resilience, the ability to keep going in the face of obstacles. By identifying and reframing the mental barriers you face as opportunities for growth, you can transform the creative struggle into a powerful source of inspiration. Creativity isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. Ask yourself what's holding you back right now. Is it fear, frustration, or doubt? How can I take one small step to progress? As the Stoics remind us, it is not the challenges we face that define our success, but how we respond to them. 2. What Stoicism can teach creatives. Creativity can feel like a chaotic process, alternating between bursts of inspiration and moments of doubt, frustration, or outright mental blocks. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, as if the creative journey is completely out of your control. Stoicism, with its emphasis on reason, resilience, and clarity, becomes a powerful tool for creators. The philosophy offers timeless wisdom to help you navigate creative challenges and find balance amidst the unpredictability of the process. Stoicism's core is about living in harmony with virtue, reason, and nature. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." For a creative, this means aligning your work with your values, taking on challenges with a clear mind, and focusing on what you can control. It's not about controlling outcomes or ensuring that every project succeeds. Epictetus advised, "Don't let the force of an impression when it first hits you knock you off your feet." One of the most important lessons Stoicism teaches creatives is emotional control, as emotions like fears, self-doubt, and frustration can derail your progress if left unchecked. It's about showing up, doing the work, and letting go of what you can't control. Instead of allowing frustration over a stalled idea or fear of failure to consume you, take a step back, observe the emotion, and choose a thoughtful response. Simply say to it, "Hold on a moment. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me put you to the test." This practice of evaluating your emotions is invaluable in the creative process. Stoicism also emphasizes focusing on what is within your power, which can transform how you approach creativity. As a creator, you can't control how your work will be received or whether it will succeed commercially, but you can control how much effort you put into your craft, how much time you devote to honing your skills, and how consistently you show up. Directing your energy toward these controllable aspects frees you from the anxiety of external validation and allows you to focus on what truly matters: the process. Another Stoic principle, memento mori, remember that you will die, may appear morbid at first glance, but it is a powerful motivator for creatives. The idea isn't to dwell on death, but to use it as a reminder to prioritize what's important. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, you could leave life right now, so let that determine what you do, say, and think. For creators, this means making the most of your time and using your talents to produce meaningful work, rather than procrastinating or becoming bogged down by perfection. Seneca's words, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials," remind us that the path of creativity is rarely smooth, with rejections, failures, and moments when inspiration seems out of reach. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and being fully present in the moment. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it as a necessary step on the path to mastery. Every setback is an opportunity to improve your craft and grow stronger. The Stoics believed in giving undivided attention to the task at hand. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Concentrate every minute like a Roman on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all other distractions. This principle encourages you to approach creative work with intention and discipline, allowing ideas to flow naturally. Ask yourself, how can I apply Stoic principles to my creative process? What emotions or outside factors am I allowing to distract me from my work? By incorporating Stoic wisdom into your approach to creativity, you'll find greater clarity, resilience, and focus. Creativity isn't about controlling everything. It's about mastering yourself and the process. When you align with these principles, you unlock the potential to create with purpose, passion, and freedom. 3. The connection between calm and creativity. When your thoughts are scattered, anxious, or distracted, your creative energy is stifled. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You can be happy if you know this." The Stoics understood that tranquility isn't just a luxury, it's a requirement for clarity, focus, and meaningful action. For creatives, achieving inner calm can mean the difference between struggling with ideas and realizing your full creative potential. When you stop wasting energy on things you can't control, such as other people's opinions, external pressures, or even fleeting emotions, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters, your craft. This principle is the foundation of a calm mind. Anxiety, on the other hand, narrows your focus, causing you to fixate on fears or perceived limitations rather than solutions or opportunities. When your mind is calm, you can see ideas more clearly, make connections between them, and explore possibilities without the interference of stress or self-doubt. Mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in the moment, is one of the most effective Stoic tools for cultivating calm. Creativity thrives when you're immersed in the process, whether you're sketching a design, brainstorming ideas, or refining a piece of writing. As Seneca once said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Focusing on the task at hand and letting go of distractions allows your mind to enter a state of flow where ideas come naturally and effortlessly. Another Stoic practice that promotes calm is reframing challenges. When confronted with a creative block or frustrating setback, it's easy to let stress take over. Instead, apply the Stoic principle of amor fati, or loving what happens. This doesn't mean you have to enjoy difficulties, but you can accept them as part of the process. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. A creative block, for example, isn't the end of the road. It's an opportunity to explore a new approach or dig deeper into your work. Reducing external distractions is also key to fostering calm and creativity. In today's world, constant notifications, deadlines, and noise compete for your attention, so make a space for your creativity that minimizes these distractions. Epictetus said, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." This intentional separation from chaos allows your mind to settle and your ideas to flourish. Seneca wrote, "You have been put in charge of yourself. No one can harm you without your consent." Despite the fact that these are unavoidable aspects of the creative process, they frequently prevent people from sharing their work or taking risks. The Stoics remind us that we can only control how we respond to others' judgments. Criticism isn't a reflection of your worth. It's simply someone else's perspective. Use it as a tool for growth and let go of the rest. The need to control outcomes is another obstacle in the creative process, according to the Stoics. You might have a clear vision of how a project should turn out, only to be frustrated when the outcome doesn't meet your expectations. The Stoic principle of amor fati, or love of fate, teaches us to embrace outcomes, whether they align with our plans or not. As Marcus Aurelius advised, receive without pride, let go without attachment. Creativity is an unpredictable process, and often unexpected results lead to new insights or directions. Accepting what unfolds keeps you open to possibility and innovation. To apply this principle, start by identifying what you can control in your creative process, such as your effort, consistency, and willingness to learn, and then let go of the rest. If you're working on a project, keep in mind that the outcome isn't entirely in your hands. Creating a mantra or affirmation that reinforces this thinking, such as, "I focus on what I can do today," or "I release what's beyond my control," can help you stay grounded in the face of doubt or irritation. Visualization is also a wonderful tool. Imagine yourself completing a project with full effort regardless of the outcome, and imagine how you'll feel knowing you gave it your all. Even if the reception isn't what you hoped for, this exercise allows you to detach from the outcome and focus on the joy of creating. By shifting your focus from the final product to the process itself, you can create with greater freedom and satisfaction. Finally, celebrate progress over perfection. Every small step you take, whether it's drafting a new idea, experimenting with a technique, or finishing a project, is a victory. Ask yourself, am I clinging to factors I can't control, or am I focusing on what's within my control? By accepting this philosophy, you may manage the creative process with resilience, clarity, and a sense of calm. The Stoics remind us that acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about diverting your focus to what's most important. Cultivating resilience through Stoic philosophy. Resilience is the backbone of creativity, whether it's bouncing back from rejection, persevering through creative blocks, or finding the strength to keep going after a failure. Resilience allows you to face challenges without losing momentum. David Goggins defines resilience as the ability to stay in the fight, while the Stoics define it as the practice of enduring hardship with grace and strength. Cultivating resilience for creatives entails viewing every setback as an opportunity to grow stronger. Obstacles in creative pursuits can be deeply personal and even discouraging, such as a manuscript rejected by publishers, an art piece that does not resonate, or a performance that receives criticism. Reframing failure is the first step toward cultivating resilience. The Stoics teach that while we can't control external circumstances, we can control how we respond to them. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events, and realizing this will give you strength. According to Epictetus, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Every rejection, every creative block, every misstep is a chance to learn something new about your craft or yourself. When you stop seeing failure as a verdict on your talent and start seeing it as a teacher, it loses its power to discourage you. Perseverance is another important aspect of resilience. As Seneca once said, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden." Resilience does not imply that you will not experience frustration or doubt, but rather that you will not let those feelings stop you. Premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils, is the practice of imagining potential challenges and visualizing how you'll deal with them. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of showing up every day, even if it's difficult, and trusting that your efforts will pay off in the end.